as explained, I'm going to go through how to use NLIS very quickly, very briefly. The first thing is we go to NLIS.com up in the top left. A lot of you will already have accounts with the system. So log into NLIS.com, and I'm going to log in via MyMLA. So this is the way it's going to go in the future, log in via MyMLA. So if you haven't already done this, it's a good idea. So I'll click on here, log in via MyMLA. And to create a MyMLA account, it's an email address and a password. I've got my email address there, the password automatically saved. It's now logging me into my MyMLA account. And when it comes up, it does a few things. First and foremost, it's a dashboard. So if you have a look here, and you can set up your own bits and pieces of your dashboard, whatever area you're in, whatever species you're looking at, you can add and remove a lot of these dashboards like these ones below. The other big advantage is you can link all of the products or programs that we run, MLA, so MedStan Australia, MSA, the NLIS, obviously LPA, EMVDs, MyFeedback fairly new, which is data, and sheep genetics. And you can add as many accounts as you want. So today we'll go into NLIS. Click on Continue NLIS. I've got 3 accounts here. So these are my own test accounts. I'll log into my agent account. So if you have a producer you're doing work for, you can add their account into your system, and when they come into your office, you can sit down with them and go through the paperwork and the database. So we're clicking Login. It's now taking me to my agent homepage. Over here is the help tools. So I'll click on help tools, and these are all the help tools for cattle. Some are quite old, November 2012, but they're still valid. So I use this to run and upload tech tips. You can print them off, leave them on the screen. There's a fair few of them, and they're species specific. So there's a few there for sheep. So we'll go back home. And I like to minimize, or get rid of these headers. So click on hide header. It's easier to demonstrate and easier for me. Now I have to wear glasses, so it makes the screen a bit bigger. So at the moment, I want to work with, we've got cattle, sheep mobs, and goat mobs. We don't have sheep BID because I haven't been working with them yet. So we need to add that in. So the first thing we do after we've logged in, what do I want to do today? I want to, up here, right at the top, change my types of livestock. And there's also view edit my account. It's good to add, but to make sure that your data and, all your contact details are up to date. So just click on sheep individual, goat individual, continue. And now in this drop-down menu, we'll have all these different species. So click on sheep individual. Like I said, click on change, or from your home page, view edit my account details. Keep your email and phone number up to date so we can contact you if we need to. Typically for things like this, so for webinars, any changes to the database that come in, if you're going to take the database offline for a couple of hours to do some work. So it's a very good idea to keep it up to date. So we'll go through doing a transfer on behalf of one of your customers. And remember, it's always the receiver's responsibility. And Will did mention this a couple of times, it's the receiver's responsibility. And it's really handy for the receiver, so your producers, to have an upload ID. And I'll go through what that is. So when you do a transfer with someone, try and provide the upload ID for the producer. So if they do get audited, they can say, yes, my agent did it, and here's the upload ID. I've been in this job now for 25 years, been working on NLIS, and the last probably 7 or 8 years on LPA. And one of the most common issues auditors raise is the transfer wasn't done. And the reply we always get is the agent said they were going to do it, or I thought the agent was going to do it. So please just make sure it's quite clear that you are doing it for them or you're not doing it for them. So we're going to go, so this is changing to the database, so to your account, and notify the database of. These are changes you can make. That is moving an animal, changing the status of an animal. And then down below, list of reports. So today we're going to go through livestock moved, and there are two choices. There's two different ways you move EID for sheep and goats. There's what's called a non-written authority, and this is the same for cattle, or what we call written authority. We'll do the non-written authority, and I'll explain that as we go. So sheep, goats, and SA camelids, alpacas, which are alpacas and llamas, South American camelids. There we go. Usually the easiest way to do it is do it on screen. So you can upload a file. If you've created a file, you can start choosing from a list, and this list will give you everything on your pick or the picks you're working for. So we'll click on type in the details. And here's the information you need to upload. So here you put the tag numbers in, copy some tag numbers. Now, obviously, that's the microchip number. This is the tag number printed on the outside of the tag. Where are they coming from? Coming from, these are my test accounts, coming from QDZZ. And they're going to QKZZ1111. Again, these are my test picks. Now the number of head is 20. Now obviously there's not 20 tags here. There's 1, 2, 3. There's only 5 tags. One of the questions we did receive earlier in the week for people who registered for this webinar is, well, how do I do both? That is, some of the animals that I'm transferring in May next year would have been born in 2025. The others, the year of drop was 2024. So there's a mix of EID tagged animals and visual tagged animals. This is the way to do it. So you do two things in one. So what we're doing is we're moving EID for these, and we're saying the total head count was 20. Then we enter in the NVD or ENV number. So they're moving today. And this is the difference between written authority and non-written authority. So there are many producers who got access to this called non-written authority. So your state and territory allow you to do movements on behalf of any pick. And you have to select these 4 bits of information, 4 fields. So who are you looking for? Is it the buyer, seller? Most of the time you're doing it for the buyer. Or if your customers or clients are both, you put the buyer. And what is the buyer's name? The buyer's George. So this is saying you're working on behalf of the buyer. This is who the buyer is, and I authorize I'm doing the right thing. Let me click down to continue. This always is the next page and the last page before setting to the database. So before sending to the database, it says you're confirming you're sending them from here to here. The total head count is 20. That's the waybill number. These are the dates and it's who you're sending it for and to. And the tag numbers. Hit send. This is now obviously posting this data to NLIS, and it's going to come up with a upload ID in a couple of seconds. And this is the upload ID confirmation that you need to send to your users, to your producers, so they've got verification when they get audited. When they get audited, they can say, this is what we've done. So there's the upload ID. Now in this particular case, because we're doing 2 things, that's the one file we just did. Let's split the file into 2. This is the individual 5 tags. This is the head count of 20. So it does both. So these are what we call the upload ID. We are going to change this terminology because it's not actually quite correct. It's the transaction ID. So we're going to be changing these, but this is the upload ID, transaction ID. Very handy for you to send on to your producers. So we click on view my transaction history down here. This is going to give us a result of what happened. So we're looking at what have I done today, view all my transactions I've committed today, continue, and that was the number we just saw, 990, and it says here, the full XML, that means it's both the transfer of the 6 animals and the 20 head, and it's split up into 2. So the top one here is, as you can see, it says mob, so that's the count of 20, and this one here is the individual. Now there's got a warning here, so we'll click on this. These are the 6 tags. 5 tags, can't count. They're the 5 tags we transferred. The same data we saw before, so that's the buyer, that's where they came from, the serial number, the date. So we'll click over here to the warning. I always pull one in so we can show people what warning looks like. So this is a typical warning saying you transfer one animal. The NLIS had this registered to a different pick. So this tag was on another property. I did that on purpose just to show you the typical warning. So we told the database, move this animal from QDZZ3333 to the QKZ1, but we had it registered somewhere else altogether. So this is the most common warning NLIS sends, just saying that it wasn't actually where you told us it was, but we have moved it. So that's the big difference. We do move it, and we call what they call a system transfer. This animal loses its lifetime traceability, and I know some feedlots now are insisting on animals having lifetime traceability. So this is what happens when an animal hasn't been transferred to this pick here. So QDZZ moved it to QKZZ just now, but it was still registered to the original pick. So that's a very typical, what they call a warning, actually called a warning number 21, and drops down the lifetime traceability. Close this out. We'll go back home. And we'll look at if you have written authority. So some states and territories don't allow you to have non-written authority. They want you to, every producer that you're working for, fill in a form. So if you do that, we actually link their pick to your account. So I'll click on this one here. Looks like they've moved onto my property. We're doing the sheep and goat one. We go. We'll do it on screen again. Exact same information. So there's the tag numbers. They're going where they're coming from. These are my picks now. So these are the picks that are linked to this account. So they're coming onto my pick. Where they're coming from. What's the MVD serial number? Number of head is 20. So this is what's missing from here are the 7, 8, 9, 10, which is you're working on behalf of the buyer or the vendor or both, their first name, second name, and the authorization tick box. But exactly the same. So these are for picks that are linked to your account. You may have 1, 2, you may have 100. Obviously, a lot easier to get non-written authority. And initially, the state and territories and industry didn't want this non-written authority. Everything had to be linked with a signed form. They've now relaxed that because of changes, and there's actually a fingerprint or footprint all the time. We know who's done it. We've got all the records, got all the data. So hence, this process here now is rarely used by stock agent accounts. It's mainly used by what they call third-party accounts, and someone's just doing the scanning and uploading on behalf of somebody else. So very simple, exact same process. Back home. I won't put it through. Another one is moving my stock off your own property. So these are your agent accounts. Not every agent, this particular account doesn't have an agent account, agent pick, beg your pardon, but some agents have a pick, some agents don't have picks. In Queensland, there are no picks issued to agents, whereas all the other state and territories do, except for Queensland and I think the Territory. So that's your basic transactions that you do on behalf of a producer. Next one is some reports. We'll just go through a few quick reports. Search the pig register. This is the most run report in our system. So you type in the pick, click go, and it gives you the details that the NLIS database holds. Now we get this information from the state and territories. It tells you if it's an active pick or non-active pick. Obviously, ERP inquiry. Oh, beg your pardon. Under reports, ERP pick status. That other ERP inquiry just did is when you want to upload large list of picks. Same thing as this. Tells us if it's LPA credit. This is again the test account, whether it has any residue issues, OCs, bottom trash, sea bovis, etc. Doesn't have any of them, but it has an early warning, which means an animal on this pick, at least one animal on this pick has an issue. This is the ERP pick status, second most run report after the pick register. And the last report is this beast inquiries report, where sorry. Trying to find the beast inquiry report now. No, it's been taken off my account. But allows you to see the current residence of one tag. So you put a tag in there, and it tells you where that animal is on that pick. Oh, so the pick that animal is currently registered to. That sums it up for me. So, like I said, make sure that you communicate with the producer that you will be or you will not be doing the transfer, please. That's like I said, it's a common call I get. Probably get 3 or 4 a week. They said they were going to do it. Simply say, show us the upload ID. So it'd be great if you could share that upload ID or transaction ID with the producer, or at least let them know that you will not be doing it.